West Wednesday 622, Justice for Tyrone West and Justice for all victims of police brutality. Tawanda, it's all you.
Thank you, Queen. So we will be back after we show you the video that we show you every week. And it's sad that I can't get on live from my home or anywhere near my home because it's like crazy. So I'm just going to leave it right there. So we'll be back. Mic check.
Can't stop, won't stop, till killer cops are in cell blocks. Can't stop.
The following video portrays an incident of assault and violence at the hands of police. Viewer discretion is advised.
I suggest you back the fuck up.
No, why you want to do that? Why would you say that?
This is Baltimore City Police Officer Jorge Bernardes Ruiz. In a video shot in 2016, Ruiz is seen with his knee on the back of an unknown man with a gun pointed at the man's head. His message was a clear one. Concerned onlookers, adhere to my dictates or else. Here, we can hear Ruiz saying to Baltimore residents,
I suggest you back the fuck up.
It is documented that Baltimore police officer Jorge Bernardes Ruiz is a repeat violent offender, even without access to all complaints against Ruiz, undisclosed by BPD Internal Affairs records. 6 cases involving Ruiz are known. This video will briefly highlight 6 total cases beginning in July of 2013. Case 1, Abdul Salam, July 1st, 2013. Here Salam is seen victoriously smiling in celebration after the jury found Ruiz and 2 other cops liable for brutality against him. However, because the trial was civil, not criminal, Ruiz was not fired and he did not go to jail.
Police profiled me. They followed me in the back of my house, harassing me. Police proceeded to violently and hostilely approach my van with me and my son in it. As I announced, this was my home, guns drawn. Once they reached my vehicle, they violently pulled me out, ramshacked my vehicle with my 3-year-old son strapped in his car seat, threw me against the gate, slammed me repeatedly. Picked me up by my feet, and while I'm upside down, they proceeded to drop me on my head, hog-tie me, and immediately when I fell on my head, Ruiz, in a wrestling type of action, and kind of hit his knee against my neck. I was arrested. I had no idea what I was being arrested for. My son is scarred to this day. He remembers the incident as it happened yesterday. When he talks about it, he always refers to Daddy being on the floor with police yesterday.
Case 2, Darrell Harris, profiled, as seen in this video, July 17th, 2013.
Yeah, Sid, what's wrong with it? Improper way with it. There's no such thing as an improper way.
You gonna tell me my driver?
I know the law.
Are you gonna tell me the law?
I know the law.
You gonna tell me the driver?
I know the law. What's the problem? You giving me a ticket? You need my license registration?
Yeah, let me get it.
The profile, y'all use the seatbelt as a reason. Profile.
Do me a favor, take out your keys.
Yeah, you can record me. For what? Nah. I don't feel safe right now. Do you want me to step out the car? Do you want me to step out the car? I'll step out the car. Call the police, man. What do you call a supervisor? I'm about to do shit. This is getting uploaded to the internet right now. Yeah?
And we are 2 law-abiding citizens that we are getting targeted, and I don't know why.
Just 24 hours later, Bernardes Ruiz played a leading role in the police killing of unarmed Tyrone West. Case number 3, the murder of Tyrone West, July 18th, 2013.
My brother Tyrone West was brutally murdered on July the 18th, 2013.
In both of these cases, when you look at the pleadings
and the harsh language of these officers that have been quoted to me by reliable witnesses. The N-word.
And Killer Ruiz and Killer Chapman and the rest of those 11 or 15 killers, including David Lewis, took something from my family that they could never give us again. And that was my brother Tyrone West, one unarmed man who was brutally murdered, beat to death in broad daylight.
We're back.
Tawana, you're on.
All right, mic check.
Mic check.
Mic
Can
check.
you guys hear me okay?
Check. Yep, we
Yes.
can hear
Yes, we
you.
do.
Awesome. So again, I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. And I come in tonight with a sad heart, obviously, with the current events that have been happening and still going on. And it's just sad, like, we were literally boots on the ground in support of our brother, Bilal Abdullah. And now to hear, when I'm on the way coming from work, to hear that a 70-year-old woman, was executed today in her home, facing a mental health crisis. Like, are you kidding me? It is getting worse. And I'm very disturbed by it. And let's be crystal clear, these are not the opinions of the West Coalition. This is Tawanda Jones speaking, because again, I'll say the things that I say, the West Coalition has no idea of what I'm going to say at any given time. I can say anything. So I'm stepping away from them, and I'm coming from the place of being a saddened sister, and I'm coming from a place still of love, because that's where I always come from. But like, for the FOP to put out something after they released that choppy edit video that we can't hear what went on at the beginning before they executed our brother, they just want you to believe whatever they think you want to believe. But again, he did not deserve to be brutally executed like that. His mother did not deserve to be roughed up. She did not deserve the type of treatment when she wanted to go and comfort her son who was laying there in the street bleeding out. It is disgusting what is happening, and I'm so devastated that normally, like, when we be telling you, like, stuff like this, we haven't had, like, a real, like, even though, like, yeah, people been getting, like, shot by the police, killed, and things like that, but it hasn't been this bad in a while. Like, now it's like every week, because literally before our brother Abdul was murdered in cold blood in his community, there was another brother that was going through a mental health crisis, and everybody in that community said that this was a nice young man. He did not deserve that, and they executed this brother right there on the scene. Like, it is disgusting, and I don't want to hear people, like I said, this is me speaking, so please don't go at nobody in the West Coalition saying, oh, this, that, and the third. Come to me directly. Again, I don't want to hear that foolishness about, oh, well, somebody had a gun, something. Because at the end of the day, when my brother was executed, he was unarmed. He stopped my vehicle. Once he found out he was being followed by undercovers, at first he probably thought he was getting ready to get robbed or something. But once he found out or figured out that these were officers, he pulled over. Hands out the window, car turned off, and he was dragged out of my vehicle by his dreadlocks. And for me, literally, and I'm going to keep reminding everybody, let's think about David Lithicum, who was facing a mental health crisis where his family called 911. And because of his mental health crisis, whatever was going on, he wound up shooting two officers, one in the face, and then he even took a vehicle, took one of their cars. And they shut the county down for literally 48 hours. But when Corinne Gaines was executed in our house, Killer said, oh, I had enough of this. and shot through somebody's wall, went in another apartment and shot through, and not only killed Corinne Gaines, but damn near murdered her son, hitting her son in the face. Like these, like when I tell you, I'm so devastated because racism plays a big role in all of this. They could de-escalate whatever they want to de-escalate, and they could kill whoever they want to kill. And if they deem you know, like trash or whatever the case may be, they'll kill you too. Because the other brother that I referred to that was killed before Abdullah, he was literally a Caucasian fellow, I believe. But my whole point, no one deserves to be brutally murdered or executed. And today, I wanted to go and do a special West Wednesday, you know, and on behalf of Bilal, our brother Bilal, and his community. But me just being over there, it is something about being in a historical space where that community, like that place where he was murdered is like one of the I guess I want to say they had money in that community, that part where it used to be, like when it was built with all the stores, but it's a history behind that space in that Black community that brought a lot of, you know, people out and a lot of money to that community. But for a brother to be gunned down in such a way, I cannot go through being ever over there. I can't do it. I couldn't do it. Like, I felt like I was going to pass out, literally. But my whole point of what I'm trying to tell y'all, guys, enough is enough. We literally got to pull together and figure out, it's so much to pull together. And then they wonder why people are having mental health crisis right now when the world right now is in an uproar. Every time you hear something, turn the TV on, the news, the blues, whatever you want to call it, there is something mind-blowing that's going on. It ain't just your typical stuff. I remember literally years ago, and years ago, we can now say back in the day, because it is outrageous now. But I remember years ago, right, when you would barely hear about things. You might hear about a little bit of community crimes and things like that. Or I say stuff happening in the community, but with these people not ever being caught, you don't know who's committing the crimes. We're so quick to jump and run with the narrative that the media feeds us. It's utterly ridiculous and it's very sad. And I really hate when I hear someone say, we need to stop killing each other. What about this Black on Black crime? Let's be crystal clear. Asians kill Asians. That's not Asian or Asian crime. Caucasian kill Caucasians. That's not Caucasian or Caucasian crime. So why is when a Black person kill or African American kill another African American, why is it Black on Black crime? That is another racist term that they put us in and use to say that our lives do not matter. Like, y'all pull up your pants. Y'all do this. Y'all do that. That's that victim blaming mentality, and it's disgusting. It is disgusting. But for the FOP with their racist self, and do they want us to believe that when any incidents happen involving police officers and things like that, they want us to believe they're going to be transparent? Yeah, they're going to be transparent, all right. We can see straight through the crap. Like, they're going to back their officers, and worthless Worley is a piece of crap, and I'm very disgusted because I'm sick of seeing his Michael Myers face. Excuse me, guys, this ain't got nothing to do with West Coalition, and I apologize for being ignorant, but he pisses me off every time I see him. He looks like he got on a Michael Myers mask, and he can't take it off, and we're stuck looking at this man on the news like,
not no type of humbling himself, no type of anything to say, you know what, I'm so sorry. Even with the Commissioner Harrison before him, at least this man would come on and you could feel some type of compassion from him, even though he would ride with them as well. But he still would more be, that's probably why he left the damn department or whatever the hell happened. But my whole point is, when he comes on, it's like you're seeing someone in a Halloween costume, no type of like a blank look. It's just like, no, it's like looking at somebody dressed in a costume because you're not going to be able to see emotion or anything. And it's disgusting to me. And the words that come out his mouth are utterly disgusting. He reminds me of the Orange Agent. He really did. He really does. That's my opinion. It's not the West Coalition. This is me going off because I'm sick of it. And as we getting closer to closing out the month of June, literally thinking about the month of July, and the summer just literally started on Saturday. And you mean to tell me after the whole communities, not even just that community, but so many people were bothered by what happened with our brother Bilal. And you mean to tell me they couldn't even, just say, you know what, let's just chill out, whatever the case may be. You can't handle an elderly 70-year-old woman, somebody, like great-great-grandmother, grandmother, mother, whatever. You couldn't handle an elderly woman that's going through a mental health crisis. You are some disgusting animals. Stinking animals.
That's right.
I am so sick and tired of the foolishness. And the first thing they do is justify murder. There's no way in the world you can justify murder. Because God forbid, if I go out there and I do not even half the stuff that they're doing to community members and people, average people on the street, I would never see the streets again. And you can literally be walking like Bilal wasn't doing anything wrong. And the reason probably why he was having a weapon on him, this man, in case you don't know, let me talk a little bit of what I know. But what I know, first of all, in 2018, let's be crystal clear. You remember the sergeant that was going around saying, oh, he spat on my face and went and beat the hell out of his brother. That was Bilal's brother that he beat up. I can't remember the names. Everybody know I'm horrible with names. But that was the younger brother of Bilal. Beat him up on the front, and that video went like on Murder Inc. It went viral, right? It was like the tipping point, and they won a settlement, I believe, of $350,000, which to me, winning is putting that killer cop in a cell block, putting that when you, like, even though he didn't kill a brother, but the fact that you literally jumped up on his face, in his face, lied to him, he spit on you, did all this horrific stuff to him because you wanted to, because maybe you were having a bad day. And he should have been arrested. That family should have got not only money, because it's not about the income, it's about the outcome. But it's, along with getting money, a monetary substance, they should have got charges. This officer should have still been in jail. But then once you get any type of retribution between these killer cops, these cops that are abusing people, you are on the red light. You are on the spectrum. You have a target. So all the time since 2018, brother Bilal and his brother and family has been walking around with a target on their back. And what they do is wait for the right moment. Let's not forget Tyree Moorhead. Someone that started the no-shoot zone. What they do, they waited to kill this man, execute him, ambush him in a black community where he started the no-shoot zone. They're like, we're going to show you about no-shoot zone. Not only are we going to kill you, we're going to make sure that we do it in such a way that nobody won't forget it, right? We're going to do it at the first place that you started
your no shoes on, that you would go around, buy your little spray cake pass, try to talk to the brothers and sisters in the community and say, hey guys, we ain't got to kill each other type of stuff. And then you kill them. That's why I say, when they try to say, oh, police brutality and community violence is different, you know, y'all over here, we all are in it together. Unfortunately, guys, welcome to America. This is called, to me, the highway of hell. And the reason why I use the terminology a highway, because we know that different streets will lead you to a highway. I don't care if you're going downtown and you can ready to hit the highway, and you might take, one person might take Charles Street, somebody else might take Howard or whatever the streets you made, and you wind up turning at your turning points, you will all wind up to the same exact highway. And that's symbolic to this dirty, rotten system to the core. That's why I say we need to knock it down and build it back up. Because how many people will have to get murdered and they keep coming back with this foolishness? Enough is enough. And now you go and you murder a 70-year-old woman? Like, are you kidding me? Like, first of all, and we've been saying this for a very long time, that when you call 911 and you saying that your loved one is going through a mental health crisis and you kind of want them to get like escorted to the hospital if they're on medication to get their treatment, things like that, that should not be a death sentence. Why are they still sending killer cops out to the scene and they're agitators? To me, they always agitate the whole entire scene. They're not there to de-escalate. Again, they only use their de-escalation strategies very well when it comes to whoever they don't want to kill. I remember it was this white fella, literally, he killed his girlfriend's dog, and then literally, she called 911, the police showed up. He literally shot over 200 rounds. I lie to you not. Google search it, it probably come up and then tell you his name. I can't think of him. I'm not good with names. But I am good with putting out the damn truth. Literally, he shot at the police 200 rounds, right? And they called it friendly fire. Like, are you kidding me? But yet, with our brother Bilal, we don't know what they were saying. We don't know if that officer was running up to him saying, yeah, I'm about to finish you off. And he thinking it's a regular street person. Like, what? Because mind you, I ain't tell you the reason why I believe. Because he had recently, as much as he was feeding the community fruits and vegetables and all that wonderful stuff with his horse and just walking miles, going back and forth, doing righteousness, somebody had robbed him and stabbed him recently. You're not going to hear that on the blues. You're not going to hear it. I'm going to tell it to you. Somebody recently robbed that man. So, of course, he's like probably scared. I don't know if somebody else going to try to rob him or do whatever the case may be. But as a man, he's like, I'm going to protect myself. And then you got somebody in this maniac, this racist piece of crap. They got great joy. They get great joy when they killing us. Like, if you saw that disgusting video where he stepped back and he didn't care how many shots he was, I'm talking about, man, they don't even shoot like that. And when they're fighting a war in Iraq somewhere, the way he was letting off them rounds was ridiculous. And then I heard a white female officer had the nerve to come up and then give them a headshot. Like, they are some cruddy, and this is Tawanda speaking, they are cruddy individuals. They're crudball to me. In layman terms, crudball, that you can stand and take somebody like that. And all I kept looking at where they was positioned, it could have been anybody in that community, a baby walking, a mother and a child getting off the subway, whatever, the bus, and literally they don't care when they come along in our community, because in their mind, they're like, hey, this ain't Roland Park. This ain't an upper class neighborhood. And they go loose. They don't care. Think about when they were walking around with the white sheets hanging us from trees. Well, guess what? They're not the Ku Klux Klan. They're the Blue Klux Klan. All they got now is their daggone uniform on, and they're ready to wipe us out, and it's very disgusting to me. And I think about when the Orange Agent ordered them literally to go. He told them to stand back and stand by. And so he gave direct orders when he lost the last election 4 years ago. Let's not be reminded. And then he sent them to go, and that's what you call beyond a riot. He sent his goons, his thugs to do work, and his armed gang to run up the Capitol wall. We can't even peacefully protest with signs down at City Hall without sharpshooters sitting on the top of City Hall pointing guns and rifles at out here. And we only peacefully protesting. They got the guns, but we got the voices. But I'm sick and tired of the foolishness. Every week we read off a list of community violence. And again, we don't know who's killing nobody because nobody's never caught. They're barely hardly caught in the community. And the first thing we do, we need to start killing each other there. Like what? And then I just saw a disgusting thing on, I believe it was Instagram, where a brother was saying, when they said, literally it was like, I think 2 teenagers shot, and the brother was walking up the street, and he said on camera, and I'm praying for this brother, because I know they're going to try to finish him off or do some stuff or whatever. But the whole point, this brother said, the police just tried to rob them little boys, and they shot him. And I believe them. I believe them. I'm standing 10 toes down on that. When that brother said openly, oh yeah, it was the police, he just tried to rob them. He robbed them or tried to rob them. But the whole point, we're talking about they are the crooks and the robbers. And then they can put their uniform on it and commit all type of heinous crimes. And I always ask you, why are they the only force that can use deadly force and do what they want? And all they got to do is jump on and say, hey, I fear for my life. Why is that? And I gave you the example, and I'll give it again. Let's see a whole house burning down, God forbid. A whole family is getting burned up in their house, and you send firefighters, men and women, that are sworn in and say, you know what, we're going to make sure we do our best, with the training skills, and we're going to save their family. But their commander pulls up, and they sat down on the curb, twiddling their thumbs and swinging their feet across on the curb. And their commander say, oh my goodness, what in the world are you guys doing? Just sitting down right here on the ground. Why aren't y'all taking any action? It's a family that's burning up. I hear babies crying. I hear mothers screaming like, what in the world's going on? So they say, oh, you know what? We feared for our life, so we ain't going to go in there because we started seeing a lot of smoke and flames literally coming down, and we think the house is collapsing. We ain't go up in there. What would you think? And that's a violent reason. But what would you think would happen to them? They'd be fired on the spot and probably charged. I guarantee you. So why is it that the slave catchers, did I say slave catchers? Oh yeah, I said slave catchers. Why is it that the slave catchers can literally come into our homes, schools, churches, communities, anywhere we are? Why is it that they could come and do what they want to do? Or if they want to beat us up, brutalize us, leave us dead or alive, they could play God and have our life in their hands. Why is it nothing happens? Because they're slave catchers. And that's the origin of policing. We need to abolish the whole entire police system, all that. Like, when is enough enough? Like, I done tried everything. Tried going down, spending the night in Annapolis, changing the laws, and we still need to change the laws. Big shout out to my brother Aaron, who's been holding it down. He's been in that community nonstop, putting his life and body on the line. And not only has he did that piece, he also created a safe space to give back to the community that need different things. He's doing different little events down there. It's just sad that, they're trying to water down, which they always do. It's no surprise. It's just that this is what they do. They watered down the Civilian Review Board. They literally watered that down to where as though they used to have, subpoena powers to get the officers fired. And now everything has just got water on it. Watered all the way completely down. It's just sad. My thing is, Today, and I don't know if y'all heard me, and I'll repeat myself if you just joined. I'm very upset. Today, a 70-year-old woman was executed in her home. You live 70 years on earth, right? To probably outcome all different type of things. No, God only knows what this lady went through, who she connected to, because I don't know anything. I just heard things as I'm on my commute to my house, right? Coming home from working, putting my time in it, my job. But my whole point is, you live on this earth for 70 years for some killer cops to come in and murder you. And then I think about Tamir Rice, because if I'm not mistaken, today is either his heavenly birthday or the day that he got executed. And in case you don't know who Tamir Wright is, it was a 12-year-old baby on a playground doing what children do. I was at my job today with the campers, watching them be children, doing what children do. But this particular day, Tamir Rice had a toy gun on a playground playing. And within 2 seconds, not 2 minutes, 2 seconds, a grown man, a grown person came and gunned him down. No questions asked, no drop the weapon, just gunned him down in cold blood. You go to your school with a book bag and you come out in a body bag. It makes no sense, but only in America it does. So at this moment, I'm going to take a breath because I'm over it. I will never be over this fight, but I'm literally over it. We're going on to 12 years, guys. So when my brother was executed, and if I could have predicted what I'm seeing now, I could have never predicted this. But in my mind, when that big part of me was snatched, this is my big brother, a father figure, the glue to my family. He was always there in any crisis situation that anyone in my family experienced. We could call Tyrone and he would be there in a drop of a dime to help a sister, whether it was fixing something in your home, whether it was lending you a couple dollars, whether it was helping my grandmother exercise, whether it was even babysitting my children. You know, being a caregiver for my children while I went to work, you know, many years ago. But my whole point is, when that happened to him, I would have thought by now, 2025, that for one, all those killers would have been in a cell block and literally police brutality would have eased up. In fact, it got worse. And I'm sick of it. I'm sick of the dog and pony show. How many more Tyrones? How many more Bilals? How many more sister queens? This is somebody's mother, y'all. A 70. Imagine living on this earth to be 70 years old. That's a blessing by itself. And then to be executed in your home, they don't care. Like I heard she was tased, and then what did you have to shoot her for? First of all, she probably couldn't even take a taser. Y'all guys tased and beat my brother to death. You go and you tase an old lady, 70, and then to top it off, you shoot her, they are gun ho. And we're going to keep hearing about it, y'all. And then what the FOP going to keep saying is, oh, they responded. They used reasonable force. They did this and that. They are the ones, and think about it. If you think about it, they are the ones approaching us, supposed to be scared, but you're approaching us armed. You're approaching us armed. In every situation they come in, whether it's in your home, school, they are armed. And I'm talking about full armor gear. I'm talking about the bulletproof vest. I'm talking about the gun. I'm talking about the taser. They are armed, but yet they're so scared and in fear of their life. If you're so in fear of your life, you need to go flip a burger, because guess what, boo? If you mess up somebody's burger, then you can say, oops, I made a mistake. But when you take someone's life, it ain't no coming back from that. Unfortunately, it's no coming back from that. So with that, I want to check in and see if we have any questions or comments. And I also want to see if anybody else want to add to or say anything. Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
So far we just have 3 comments. Mic check from Judah, Angela, and Linda.
Okay. Thank you.
Tawana, I'll add a little something if you like.
Sure, go ahead.
It hasn't been in the news very much, but there's been a big struggle against police brutality in Kenya, in East Africa, in the last couple of weeks. A powerful struggle. So it really is, as you often say, an international struggle. It's not just here, not just in Baltimore, not just in the United States. It's worldwide. And I would argue that and I'm not speaking for West Wednesday, the same ruling class that killed Bilal and today killed Baltimore's 70-year-old sister is the same ruling class that's providing 2,000-pound bombs to the Israeli ruling class that they're using to kill dozens of people every day in Gaza. And now they've also dropped the biggest non-nuclear bombs that exist, 30,000 pounds apiece. Only one plane in the world can carry them. They're so big and heavy. They've dropped a whole slew of them on Iran. And I think what's going on is that the U.S. ruling class, compared to other powerful capitalists, is in decline. And, you know, if you corner a rat and it feels like it has no way out, it's going to get desperate and vicious. And that's how the U.S. ruling class is doing here in the country and around the world. And in my opinion, they got to be defeated, as you say, tear it down and build it back up. And they have to be replaced with a new world of sisterhood and brotherhood. And everyone involved with West Wednesday is sick and tired and disgusted at losing 3 or 4 people each and every day as a result of police brutality, racist police brutality, I should say. So last point, it often seems inconceivable before we make a big change that racist killers could be taken out of power. But after we do it, it will seem like it was always inevitable for that positive change to be made. So once again, kill the cops in cell blocks. We can do it. Dare to struggle. Dare to win. Mic check.
Mic check.
Check.
That was real powerful, Uncle Bill. Did anybody else want to add or say anything before we go on to the sad list tonight? But again, if you're just joining in, it's real sad and devastating. Like, we ain't even really in a whole week. Like, literally, our brother Bilal had just been laid to rest over the weekend. You know, because of his Muslim beliefs, they act quick to bury and reserve the body, you know. And literally, that was just Saturday. Today is only Wednesday. And you go and we're watching the news, we're in the same city, I don't care if east, west, north, south, they know what time it is. And you literally have that kind of like, I don't care. Oh, well, I can just do what I want to do attitude, regardless of what's going down. Like, the community is still at an upset, as we should, confused, heartbroken, like as many emotions are in the air right now because everything is still fresh, and literally you couldn't even wait. You couldn't even wait 1 week, literally 1 week after a man you executed snatched from his family. You couldn't even wait till this Saturday, a week after the funeral. Like, this, what they're trying to do, and this is my opinion, and I'm going to step away again from West Coalition. My opinion is what they're trying to do. It's not just the Baltimore thing. So I urge every city, please be careful, because what's happening is law enforcement are pretty much trying to get people to just that, because they want to send in all the armed men and women from the military, you know, to watch over us, to have us pretty much on, you know, like We can't go outside at a certain time, curfews, all that stuff. Like, they're desperate. Anytime, think about it, when they were protesting peacefully, and then the orange agent in a whole nother city did not even let the mayor, let the commissioner, or anything do. He straight went over top of their head to bring our military brothers and sisters in. Like, this is like, what is this to the point? Like, what's next? Like, you just never know. That's why I said, and now I'm going to calm myself down, right? Because I got it out a little bit. But that's why I always say, live to love, love to live. Because these are in the times that are so uncertain that you think that you could see somebody within the next hour, within a second, they could be gone. So love up on everybody right now. Try to make it your business. And it's a small goal. And it's only my advice. I'm not a counselor, none of that. But I'm just coming from a caring heart. If everybody tried to do one good deed once a day, want to do something nice one time a day, wherever, even if it's just giving somebody a compliment. Oh, you look nice wearing that outfit. Or, oh, I like what you said. That was nice. Or if you could, help them out with a couple dollars. If you could, give them a ride. Whatever that you could do to help somebody out. Or just sit down. Close your fat lips and let them talk. Be a listening ear. Because sometimes you never know what people are going through. And just because a person has a smile and they might wear it well, does not mean that they're hurting on that they're not hurting on the inside. So I would never, ever want to be that person to push somebody over to their tipping point. So just always be that voice of reason, always try to do the right things, and always live and love. Love will see us through. Like, no matter what, we can hate each other, we can all this, but hate is evil. We're not evil people. A lot of people do evil things, but I'll never forget, and I'll end on this note. It was crystal clear in a conversation I had with Hillary. I don't know if it was at a West Wednesday, but what she said to me made absolute sense when she said, unfortunately, it's about winning. You know, and I had to think about that. That thing like, well, what do you mean it's about winning? But it's true. It's like, even when you're going through anything, like I had to actually go to court and watch a serial white racist killer that did all type of heinous acts that they had my family sat down and be quiet about. They let him go serve his time in Virginia, all this foolishness, and he still got all these bodies to actually see him get off for murdering my cousin and get charged with a handgun and like crazy, like blew my mind. But then I thought about, every time I always think about my sweet Hillary when she said it so well. Unfortunately, it's about winning, like who's winning, like, you know, proving, like it's the fact that both parties have somebody that's going to defend them. Somebody from the wrong side that did the crime, and the people that are suffering behind the crime. But at the end of the day, when you get in the courtroom and the court system, it's about winning. And that's what these attorneys care about. They don't care, like half the time they know if they're defending a killer. They know if they're defending somebody innocent. But it's about winning. And it's sad. It's so sad. So that always stuck to me. But how we win, and I can tweet that, is through love. Love sees all. Like whenever you get in that dark spot, I don't care, whatever it is you love. You may love to eat. You may love dancing. You may love looking at flowers, love artwork. Let that light of love lead you out of that dark hole. Because we could think about when you're in that dark spot, everything that you had good going on in your mind, trust me, it's going to go out the window because it's designed to do that. But if you could think about whatever you love, I promise you, it'll make it that much easier. That's why I always say, live to love to live, and I love you all. And with that, I do love you all. And I want to check in with our sister Kalia to see if we have any more questions and comments. And from that, we will be going in to, unfortunately, both of our sad lists. Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check. So far, no new comments currently.
Tawanda, if I could,
go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, Tawanda, if I could just say one thing about the recent events.
Sure, please.
You know, I see this and everyone's like, everyone's so upset when these things happen, and then there's somebody will, you know, something will happen. And I mean, Bilal Abdullah had a gun and he pulled it out when police were chasing him, and that's two stupid things right there. But none of that justifies killing him. There is no human being who has a right to take another human being's life, and it doesn't matter what they were doing or who they were threatening. The fact of the matter is, you don't have that right. And it doesn't matter if you have a knife and lunge at someone. It doesn't matter. Above all, the police, who are supposedly here to protect us and who are supposedly there to represent us, don't have that right to just take another life. And you can't say, oh, well, I thought maybe something bad would happen if I didn't do this bad thing. That's just not that just doesn't make any sense. No one justifies things that way. You don't say, well, I thought that they would steal this if I didn't steal it first. So, you know, I think that we need to somehow move away from this idea of, oh, we're going to see the video and it'll show us whether or not this person was in the right or in the wrong when they were killed, because the person who's killed is never in the wrong. They are just killed. And that's, you know, that's what we have to bear in mind. And if you go into a situation holding in your head the possibility that you may kill this person, then you're wrong and you need to get out of that situation, because there is no excuse for killing another human being, whatever the situation. And so, you know, I think that we're right to be upset about these things and we're right to be outraged, but it doesn't matter if Balil had a gun. It doesn't matter if this woman had a knife. It doesn't matter if someone was threatening someone. Don't kill them. That's where the story ends. Thank you.
Thank you, and that was a great point. Thank you so much. And it just really feels good to actually communicate with you guys without being cut off, being choppy, and all that foolishness. And it goes to prove my point that, like, unless I'm losing my marbles, like, the facts are, whenever I'm near my home and I try to place a call or get on any of my devices, it's all choppy. And I already heard that they have something called blockers or whatever that they put out. The police could put blockers or whatever they call it. That might not even be the name, but it's something that could control your internet services and the way that you're able to communicate. And it's sad and disgusting. Like, it was the other day, I'm on the phone, my daughter, we're saying a morning prayer, and she's like, she's like, Mom, what's recording the call? It said, this call is being recorded. We like, what? It's like, you can only laugh at it because you have to laugh through the pain. But it's disgusting and it's hard that I can't even be at my own property where I'm paying bills at, right? And get a good service. And it almost made me question, like, something going on my phone, but I know it was nothing going on my phone, because no matter where I'm at, when I'm on my lunch break, I can use my phone all day long. My phone's not cutting off, hanging up on people, none of that crap. But the same, as I pull up in my driveway, here come the foolishness. So I just want y'all to believe when people tell you something's not right, please believe them. I have no reason to lie. I have I'm not getting nothing out of line about none of this stuff. Nothing. Not one thing. Nothing. So it's pointless for me to make up a lie and say, oh, and anybody that talk to me, they get mad. And to the point, I can't even enjoy a conversation. So now with our loved ones, I have to shorten up the conversation talking to them. And for a long time, because I know that's going to keep hanging up, cutting off, and I'll be too exhausted and it irritates because every time it does that, it makes me want to take my phone and throw it out the window across the street. Like that's how I feel, and it's sad. And that's how it's designed. But I don't give up. Like you might shake me up, but I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep fighting, and I'm going to always stand 10 toes down on the tree. And with that being said, the time now is 7:55. I'm going to I'm not going to read it, but I'm going to just pretty much try to just state our non-discouragement clause thing that we always say because we don't want to offend anybody. So I'm just going to start and I'm going to stop. And then we're going to start up, unfortunately, with the sad list, and we're going to wrap West Wednesday up. So it is the West Coalition's mission to pretty much fight for accountability, not only just for my big brother Tyrone West, but for all the victims of police brutality. We believe in mediation. We believe that, if you sit down and talk about something in a rational, reasonable way, that it can be resolved. That even if it does not work out in favor of any party, you can walk away and say, hey, we agree to disagree and everything is cool. We believe in peace and love. We also, when we get these lists of names and we get all the information that we get, we don't have detailed information. We don't know, we didn't take the time to be our own conscious consumer by investigating all the names and seeing who was who, what is what. Because I always say, I don't believe that anyone deserves to be brutally murdered. Not no one. And that has always been my belief. No one deserves to be brutally murdered or executed. But again, we know too that all the victims of police brutality, everybody that get brutalized don't die. So we're here for the ones that survive. We're here for the survivors as well as the victims that are no longer here. A victim is a victim, whether you survive or whether you die. But it's very unfortunate and tragic when a person loses their life. And we're not just talking about police brutality. We talk about community violence as well, because we have a sad list that we always just try to come from a loving, respectable place without knowing any information, because we get both of our lists from a national news outlet as well as a local news outlet. And again, we don't have any information. But again, we always say, just sit down, talk about it. It could be worked out. Even if you can't, my mother always taught me, you can't say something nice, don't say anything. Sometimes it's best to not say anything. So again, we're not here. We're just coming from a place of caring. When we say these names, just to identify everyone as a human being. Because again, when someone is murdered, it's devastating. I wouldn't care if it was by someone on the street or a killer cop. The only difference is when a police officer tells us, we know who you are, we know what you did, and you hardly, if you ever get charged, you hardly get charged with it. So again, the time now is 7:59. We're going to take 1 minute. We know a minute is barely enough to do anything. But if you're in prayer, say a prayer, positive thoughts. We need it all. When you hear these names, and we're not trying to traumatize nobody. So again, we're just here from a respectful, caring place. So 1 minute, we'll be back at 8:00. Mic check.
Mic check.
All right, guys, the time now is 8 o'clock, and I'm going to hand it over to you guys. Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check. I will start off with the local homicide list. As you know, Twanda says, we don't know much about these people. We don't need to know much about these people. We only have one name this time around, but that's one person whose future has been stolen. That's, you know, we don't know how many, you know, family members, loved ones, friends, neighbors, co-workers have been shattered in this time. So, you know, we just lift up their names, his name. We, you know, and we dedicate ourselves to continuing the fight against violence in all its forms. So if you just echo the name back, Tyrell Curtis.
Tyrell.
Curtis.
Thank you.
Thank you. So y'all ready for the police brutality list?
I believe Kalia is going to read the first third.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I'll be reading the first 13 names and then passing it on to Hillary. All right, the list goes from the dates of June 13th through June 24th, I believe. Starting off on the 13th in Memphis, Tennessee, 35-year-old male, Timothy Cook.
Timothy
Cook. Also on the 13th in Frostproof, Florida, 52-year-old male, Francisco Garcia Vega.
Francisco Garcia Vega.
Moving on to June 14th in Somerville, South Carolina, 61-year-old male, Patrick David Hatcher.
Patrick David Hatcher.
Also on the 14th in Miami, Florida, 30-year-old male, Norman Lindo.
Norman Lindo.
Also on the 14th in St. Cloud, Florida, 18-year-old male whose name was withheld by the police.
Cell blocks for killer cops.
Blocks for killer cops.
Ashe.
Ashe.
Also on the 14th in Aurora, Colorado, 58-year-old male, Todd Patrick Smith.
Todd
Patrick Smith.
Also on the 14th in Houston, Arkansas, 34-year-old male, Kyle Lambert.
Kyle
Lambert.
Now going to June 15th in Spokane, Washington, a male whose age is unknown and whose name was withheld by the police.
Cell blocks
for killer cops.
Ashe.
Also on the 15th in Columbia, Tennessee, 28-year-old male, Clayton Tyler Dodson.
Clayton
Tyler Dodson.
Also on the 15th in Marksville, Louisiana, 25-year-old male, Keontae Kushan Davis.
Keontae Kushan Davis.
Keontae Kushan Davis.
Also on the 15th in Bruno, Idaho, a male whose age is unknown and whose name was withheld by the police.
Cell blocks for
killer cops.
Ashe.
Ashe.
Moving on to June 16th in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, 41-year-old male, Eddie Hill.
Eddie Hill.
Eddie Hill.
Also on the 16th in Fallon, Nevada. Unfortunately, we have no information on this person.
Cell blocks for killer
Cell
cops.
blocks for killer cops.
Ashe.
Ashe.
Ashe. Now I'll pass the next 13 names to Hillary.
Okay. And again, we're reading the list of names that we got of folks who were killed by the police in the United States in the last period. Starting now with the 17th in Albuquerque, New Mexico, 36-year-old female, Desiree Herrera.
Desiree
Herrera.
Also on the 17th in Clovis, New Mexico, 24-year-old male, Eric Gallagher.
Eric
Gallagher.
On the 17th in Sweet Springs, Montana, 23-year-old male, Francis Alcantar Chavez.
Francis Alcantara
Chavez.
Also, on the 17th, here in Baltimore, and we've spoken about him tonight, this list has him as unknown and name withheld, but we know him. And it's the young man that Tawanda was talking about that was killed by police.
Bilal Abdullah.
Bilal Abdullah.
Bilal Abdullah.
On the 17th in Miami, Florida, 24-year-old male, Christopher Lazaro Laboy.
Christopher Lazaro
Laboy.
On the 18th in Minna, New York, 66-year-old male, Mark Bemis.
Mark
Bennis.
On the 18th in Chesterton, Indiana, a male whose name was withheld by the police.
Cell blocks for killer cops.
Ashe. Also on the 18th in Vero Beach, Florida, 48-year-old male, Raymond Benedetti.
Raymond Benedetti.
On the 19th in Pensacola, Florida, 37-year-old Daniel Lewis Hayes.
Daniel Lewis Hayes.
On the 19th in Los Angeles, California, 27-year-old male, Victor Carrillo.
Victor
Carrillo.
On the 20th in Seattle, Washington, a male whose name and age have been withheld.
Cell blocks
Cell blocks for killer cops.
Ashe.
On the 20th in Mandeville, Louisiana, another person whose name and age have been withheld by the police.
Cell blocks for killer cops.
Ashe.
Again, on the 20th in Highland Park, Illinois, 59-year-old male, Brent Buckholtz.
Brent
Buckholtz.
And now I will pass this list on to Bill.
Good evening, everyone. It's a sort of a tragic, horrendous thing to have to read all these names of people whose lives are stolen. In this 12-day period we're covering, the 39 lives that were stolen add up to more than 3 a day, 3 and a quarter. So over 4 days, that's 13 people, a rate that's higher than it was a few years ago. So we start now on the 21st in Fontana, California, 45 years old, name withheld by police.
Cell blocks for killer cops.
Ashe.
And everyone else in the remainder of their list, except for one person, their names have been withheld by the police. Next in St. Louis, Missouri, on the 22nd, a man whose age and name have been withheld by the police.
Cell blocks for killer cops.
Ashe. In Lenexa, Kansas, on the 22nd, again, name and age withheld by police.
Cell blocks for killer cops. Ashe.
Ashe. In Honolulu, Hawaii, on the 22nd, a man whose age and name again withheld by the police.
Cell blocks for killer cops. Ashe.
Ashe.
Ashe. In Parkland, Washington, on the 23rd, again, a man whose age and name have been withheld by the police.
Cell blocks for killer cops. Ashe.
Ashe.
Eagle Mountain, Utah, on the 23rd, once again, a man whose age and name have been withheld by the police.
Cell blocks for killer cops. Ashe.
Ashe. In Memphis, Tennessee, on the 23rd, well, perhaps I mentioned him already. I've lost my spot on the list. Anyway, in Memphis, Tennessee, on the 23rd, another man, age unknown, name withheld by police.
Cell blocks for killer cops.
Ashe.
Ashe.
In Colorado Springs, Colorado, on the 23rd, a man again, age unknown, name withheld by police.
Cell blocks for killer cops. Ashe.
Ashe.
In Denver, Colorado, on the 23rd, once again, a man, age unknown, name withheld by the police.
Cell blocks for killer cops. Ashe.
Ashe.
Ashe. Little Rock, Arkansas, on the 23rd, yet again, a man whose age is unknown, name withheld by the police.
Cell blocks for killer cops. Ashe.
Ashe. In Homewood, Alabama, on the 23rd, a young 18-year-old Jabari Peoples.
Jabari
Peoples.
Jabari Peoples.
And finally, the last person we're upholding this evening, killed by police in Lubbock, Texas, on the 24th, gender unknown, age unknown, name withheld by police.
Cell blocks for killer cops. Ashe.
Ashe.
Mic check.
Mic check.
So again, I want to thank everybody that tuned in tonight. Thank you guys so much. I want to thank Rachel, our queen, that always puts us on here every week whenever she can, and just the West Coalition in general, because we always have each other back. So when someone can't do it, like if Ben's not around, then Rachel will pick it up, and Hillary, and just many of us. So just thank you guys. And what better, stronger way to end West Wednesday, because we said it so much tonight. Cell blocks for killer cops, Ashe. And totally so. Cell blocks for killer cops, Ashe. We will see you next West Wednesday.
Tawanda?
Live to love, love to live. I'm sorry, what you say, Uncle Bill?
There are a few more comments if you'd like them to be read.
Oh, sure, please.
Kalia, will you do that?
Yes, can you hear me?
Perfectly.
All right. There was another mic check comment from Descartes. Dan Hollaback commented, "It's not surprising, unfortunately, that the police will be more brazen, considering the propaganda around law and order. Now that we have local control, our mayor and city council need to step in." A mic check from Mainism, and from Latoya, #Justice for Bilal. Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check. And thank you so much, Uncle Bill, for letting us know, or letting me know that we did have remaining comments. And thank everybody for commenting. If you're watching this, just share, hit like, and if you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. And yeah, it's just sad that we're going through this, but again, cell block for killer cops, Ashe. Live to love, love to live, and we will see you guys next West Wednesday. Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
And Mr. West begging for his life. And Mr. Salam begging for his child to be excluded and comforted from what was taking place. Not for himself, but for his 3-year-old child.
Case number 4, Adina Britt and family, September 10th, 2015. My name is Adina Britt, and I wanted to submit a 30-second testimonial that Jorge Omar Bernardez Ruiz is one of the 11 terrorists that came into my house performing a home invasion in September 2015, terrorizing my entire family and even holding my 12-year-old son at gunpoint. He needs to be stopped. Case number 5. Unidentified arrestee, assaulted in 2016.
I suggest you back the fuck up. No,
Again, this video did not surface until the summer of 2020. Case 6, Thomas McCullough, May 2016 and February 2017.
I heard my front door coming off the hinges like it exploded.
Thomas McCullough says it happened twice. In May 2016 and February 2017, Baltimore City Police burst through his green front door and raided his Pimlico home.
They said, police. They come up, shotguns, guns.
He says officers ransacked the place, looking for drugs, money, and weapons. He took pictures of the damage he says they left behind.
Tell us where the drugs are, the scales, the guns, and the large amounts of money.
Nothing was found. Now he's suing police, claiming officers, including a former member of the Gun Trace Task Force, frightened him, his wife, and father-in-law when the officers conducted what his suit calls an illegal search of his home. The owner of the house tells 11 News after the second raid, he had to replace the front door. McCullough and his attorney say they want Baltimore police held accountable.
There is a colossal breach of trust.
And McCullough tells us following both raids, no one was arrested or charged.
This all begs the question, when will Baltimore City State's attorney see the prosecution of Bernardez Ruiz as warranted?
They were the stopping officers in these so-called jump-out cars, unmarked and so forth, that stopped both the West vehicle and the Salam vehicle without probable cause. And these officers are the ones that also were joined by others, but they are the ones who initiated the stops, pulled both men out of the vehicles, and commenced the vicious activity that was thrust upon them.
And the officer Ruiz that started this attack is still working and working with promotions. He is now sergeant. But the fact that this repeat violent offender had a history leading up to my brother. There was Darrell Harris, there was James Green, Joseph Green, Abdul Salam. No one family deserves to be brutally murdered or brutalized by this repeat violent offender Ruiz. It is time we take action. The time is now.
Baltimore police officer Jorge Bernardez Ruiz is a repeat violent offender. Based on these accounts, in accordance with the law, we, the West Coalition, call for him to be fired, prosecuted, and incarcerated.
We're more than hashtags and body bags. We're more than being 6 feet in the dirt and pictures and buttons on t-shirts. Our lives matter.
For the safety of our city, the prevention of further harm, and the justice for these families, we see no other option.
And again, I'll say, the time is now.